Hey, everyone. Good morning. Welcome back. So, guys, as part of these lectures, we are going to study Appium latest version features. So, Surendra, why are we learning these features? We have already studied enough chunk on Appium. What's this and what are we going to study here? So, guys, the point here is so far we have studied Appium 1.22 or 1. Some X versions we have studied. Right now, Appium started working on the 2.x versions. And whenever you are attending the interviews, majority of the people are asking which version of Appium you are using. Are you not comfortable with the features of Appium 2.x and all those things? That's the reason we are going to cover a couple of videos on the Appium 2.x versions, which gives you more details about the features, how exactly we need to do a practical implementation on those new features that I have added in a 2.x, and which features have been removed in these latest versions. All those things we are going to study for today's session. So here, guys, the first and foremost thing here is, as you all know, that Selenium 4 has launched and they are starting W3C protocol. So whenever the Selenium has started W3C protocol, Appium team has started development for these W3 standards, with which the Appium 2.x versions are released, which supports the W3 standards itself. And they are removing the methods which are not supporting these W3 standards here from this Appium. And moreover, the major change that we can observe out over here is, so far we have seen the desired capabilities in order to interact with the mobile devices, right? You need to pass the desired capabilities, platform name, both for Android and an iOS. Whereas moving on to these 2.x versions, what they have done is they completely removed the desired capabilities. If you want to create an instance to iOS, they are using XUI test options, using which you are passing the various sets of options. If you want to create an instance to Android driver, they are using UI automated 2 options, using which you need to pass the set of options here. Like this, they have made a major changes. We will see the practical implementation also. Moving on to the configuration perspective, guys, the detailed documentation is there in their official website itself. Even I have shared this link for your reference. Do follow this documentation. So the first and foremost thing that I want to kickstart here as part of the today's session is what we need to install and what we need to uninstall from our machine. So here the point is, if you have installed a node recently, then it would be definitely greater than 16 version itself. Check out your node version. If it is less than 14, kindly uninstall it and install the latest version, which is above 18, so that it's going to be compatible with our Appium 2.x. That's the first thing. And the second thing what you need to do is, we have already done working on the Appium 1.x version. So let's remove it from this particular machine so that it won't be any compatibility issues for us while installing the latest versions. So that's the reason. If you are using a Mac machine, uninstall the Appium server GUI from the Mac application folder. If you are using a Windows machine, uninstall the Appium server GUI from the Windows machine. So why are we uninstalling means, with this latest version of Appium, it's not going to communicate from the server. The server is going to communicate from the terminal itself. So that's the reason that it is not required. And in the Windows, check out where exactly the Appium folder contains. Delete a complete Appium reference from your machine. If you are working on a Mac, these are the two folders that you need to delete: user local bin Appium, user your username .apm. These two files are completely you need to remove from your machine so that it won't create any further issues in your machine. If you are done up to here, you are in a good shape to configure this Appium 2.x in our machine. The installation part, let us see as part of the next session, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hello. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome back to the session. As part of the today's session, let us see how exactly we can install Appium on our machine. Okay, install Appium on our machine. So how are we going to do this particular activity? In order to do so, the only thing that we need to do is, if you are using a Mac, open the terminal. If you are using a Windows, open the command prompt, and in which go to the Appium official documentation, install Appium. The command that you have is npmi. So node module install globally Appium at the rate next. So this is the command that we need to paste it in the terminal. Copy this command, put it in the terminal, and hit enter button. So whenever you try to install this particular one, if you encounter any issues, certain situations, when you run this particular command, you will be encountering a couple of issues. Let me show you the issue and what exactly the solution we need to do for this particular issue. I'm going to show you right now. And this issue is precisely on a Mac. So whenever you are working on a Mac machine and if you encounter any particular issue, what is the solution that you need to implement? For suppose, when you try to do this particular installation activity, if you encounter stating that a permissions are denied, if you encounter any permissions got denied, then you need to copy these three lines of a code, which is we are rewriting the permissions of a node modules, bin, and the share directory within the user's local path. This is what you need to do. After you run these three commands, then go ahead and rerun that particular command apm install. You will see this particular message stating that apm got installed. And how would we know whether the Appium got installed or not? Means open the command prompt after the installation, type Appium and hit enter. In order to start the server also, the only thing that you need to do is Appium itself. And when you done that particular one, welcome to Appium version 2.0 RC5 and attempting to load this particular driver. Fine, perfect. The server is up and running right now. At any point, if you want to stop this particular server, you need to use a Control C so that the server is stopped. Let me stop it. Control C, I just stopped my server. Perfectly all right. I have installed Appium. And after installing the Appium, what is going to be the next steps? So let me open these next steps here. You need to manage your drivers and as well as the plugins. In the previous session, we noticed that basically, okay, so you need to have a explicitly separated drivers for the individual instances. So that's the reason. How you need to download the drivers directly within the command prompt itself. Say Appium driver install. This particular way you can install the drivers, whether it is an UI automated 2 or an XUI, whichever the one that you want. You can download it from a node package or the Appium in the official documentation itself. If you scroll down, there is an ecosystem, the Appium ecosystem. If you scroll till the bottom of this particular documentation, they have a given helper tools. In order to install this Appium, there is a helper tool, which is Appium installer helper tool. Okay, Appium installer helper tool. So here this screen gives us that what are all the various drivers available, what are all the various plugins that are available, what are all the Java clients that are available, everything they have a given here. See, basically here there is an images plugin. So this plugin is used in order to match the images. We need to install that particular plugin. So you can do it everything from the command prompt or a terminal, or you can use this Appium installer plugin. To work on this Appium installer, the only thing that you need to do is copy this line npm install -g Appium installer in the terminal. And once this Appium installer got successfully installed, then use this Appium installer to start it. So Appium installer. So I have already installed this one. That's the reason I'm not running npm install that particular chunk, but I'm launching my Appium installer right now. So whenever I launched it, see it's showing up an option. Hello Appium user, what option you want? In order to use that particular option, whichever the one you want, just select it. So I can use a down key, and whenever I select, I can use a down key, and whenever I hit this particular button, automatically this activity will be selected. Okay, automatically this activity will be selected. So what I am doing right now means Appium installer I'm doing right now. So here, need help in setting off the environment, need help in setting off the iOS environment, which one you want? I want to install Appium server, I have installed it. I want to install Appium driver. Yes, we need to install the drivers for our Appium. Hit enter. Which drivers you want? So these many drivers are available, which is XCUI test driver is there, UI automated 2 is there, Mac is there, and all these drivers are there. If you see, select the drivers to install. The way to select the driver is choose the driver whichever you want, press the space so that will be selected. If you want to select a multiple things, scroll down, hit the space. All those things will be selected. Right now, I have a selected UI Automator and XCUI test, these two things, and a hit enter button. Automatically, it's installing. See, I got an error message. The reason is XCUI test I have already installed and it's trying to install this UI Automator too. So you no need to run multiple commands. Basically, this will take care about, which is the Appium installer will take care about the required installations, and it will install all the desired plugins, the configuration, environment, whichever the things you want, everything will be taken care by this particular Appium installer itself. And now this installer is trying to install this particular UI Automator 2 driver. Basically, it's installing this particular driver. Okay, let it download. So this UI Automator 2 is used precisely to interact with our Android devices. Perfectly all right. So guys, I'm not covering anything about how you need to install the Android Studio, how you need to set up the environmental variables on a Windows or the bash profile in a Mac. I'm not covering everything. We have a detailed session for everything. Right now, we are just looking at how exactly the 2.x features will work. That's it. Okay. Good, done the deal. So with this note, we are done with this Appium installation, followed by UI Automator driver for an Android, XCUI test driver for an iOS. We have installed it. In the next session, by looking at the documentation, we'll write down a simple code, how exactly we can write down a code that it will interact with an Android devices and as well as an iOS devices, not with the desired capabilities. Okay, done the deal. See you in the next session. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Good morning. As part of the today's session, we are going to write down a small program that will launch UICatlog app on an iOS simulator. Okay, on a Mac machine, if you have a Mac machine, if at all you want to launch a UICatlog app on a simulator, how exactly you want to deal with it is the topic for our today's session. So what I'm doing right now means, as per the documentation, write a test in Java. I want to write down a test. Follow the user examples. So as per this documentation, they are saying that, buddy, you need to create a project. You need to configure it with the Appium Java. And once everything is configured, then use these examples. So we have already created Maven projects earlier. For this 2.x, I created a new Maven project, and in the pom.xml file, let me navigate to MVN repository and Appium Java client, search for it. And on this Appium Java client, the latest version is 8.5.1 itself. Directly copy this 8.5.1, then update that Appium Java client dependency here. This project contains only Appium Java client libraries itself. Other than that, I haven't added anything. Appium Java client and a JUnit, that's it. And then now let us create a new program. Within this package, creating a Java class and app launch iOS with a main method I have created. I have created a Java class for this. Now go to the documentation, check out the references what they have given for us. See, if at all you want to use an UI Automator for an Android, use this. If at all you want to use an iOS, use this XCUI test options. So you need to create an object to these XCUI test options, and you need to pass all the options. So here, let us come down, create an instance for that. XCUI test options, space options is equal to new XCUI test options. And now I want to import it first. So here, change it to XCUI test options. I have changed it. And now dot, see here, set a platform name. What is your platform name? I know my platform name is an iOS. And then what else we need to set? We need to set the capability. So here there is a key and a value pair. You can pass on a key and as well as a value as part of a capabilities, or okay, you can set this particular thing. Or if you look at the documentation, set UDID, set app. So here I'm passing set, okay, set UDID. I'm setting up the UDID of that particular device. Okay, 1 second. Set UDID of that particular device. So I'm setting the UDID of that particular device dot set app. I'm setting this particular app. Only the two parameters I'm passing for this iOS. What is the UDID of that particular device and what is the application app file for this particular simulator. So what I'm doing right now means whatever the code base that you have prepared earlier. Okay, so maybe the launch code. So it has a UDID. Copy the UDID and directly paste it here in the UDID. And the same way, copy the app capability value and put it here as part of the app. That's it. So done. We just passed on these options. Now let's go back to the browser. After passing the options, you need to create an instance to this iOS driver, for which you need to pass on the Appium server URL followed by the options that you have passed. Copy this line of a code and update it here. So which is iOS driver space driver is equal to import the iOS driver and new URL. I'm importing the JavaNet URL. So whenever you use a JavaNet URL, you need to add a throws an exception. That's it. Perfectly all right. Done the deal. So the point is, I'm creating an instance to this iOS driver where I am passing the Appium server URL followed by this particular options. And after that, if you want to use the app, play around it or quit it. So what I'm doing right now means as I have initiated this one. So let's wait for thread.sleep for 6500 milliseconds. And then I'm using a quit command to terminate this particular instance. That's it, guys. I haven't done anything. And now let us start the Appium from the command prompt. I launched my terminal and I hit that particular Appium so that the Appium is up and running. As you have already installed that XUI driver and as well as a UI automated 2 driver, see here, these two plugins were already installed. These are available for you. And if at all you are using a XUI, there is a map between these two. See here, you are writing down the XUI options and you already have an XUI driver installed. So you are good to go further. Okay. Perfectly all right. Now, let me try to run my test script. So guys, if you see right now, I don't have this particular one, which is the simulator launched. Okay, let me run this program and see whatever the UDID mapping simulator is there, the program should launch that simulator and it should open that. So we haven't done anything here. Okay, we haven't done anything here. We are just creating an instance to this iOS driver by passing these options. Instead of passing the desired capabilities, those many desired capabilities, we are just passing these options. We are not passing the automation name. We are not passing the platform name. All those things we are not passing. Directly, we are using these XAI options and we are just giving that information. Okay, look at this particular console. So it's trying to interact with that particular chunk. Okay, so it will take a few seconds to interact with that particular device. Automatically, the device will be launched and in which, see here, the capabilities that it went are automation name, XUI test it went, and then the further things it went and it performed that particular operation. Okay, good. So, but I didn't see this run. Let me comment it out, this command, and let me rerun the program once. It should launch this driver, nothing more than that. It should launch this driver and it should show up. Let's see. It should launch the simulator. That's what it was supposed to do with this particular program. This is not the program that I want to execute. I want to execute this program, right? Let's see what's going on here. Why it's happening? Just 1 second. Let me rerun this code. What's going on here? Think wrong. Something went wrong here. Let's see. It should launch this. So UICatlog, the WebDriver agent. There is an issue with that WebDriver agent. Okay, it had an issue with this particular WebDriver agent. So if you scroll up the console here, if you scroll up this console, 1 second, let's scroll up. So test execution failed. Okay, so the test execution got a failed. Okay, the result is here. Coverage XUI result. The issue is here itself. Let's scroll up once and see what is the issue. I've seen an error here. WebDriver agent killing running the process, the WebDriver agent. So there is an issue with this particular WebDriver agent. So where is that console once? Scroll up. The path here is, okay, the path here is user lucky node.js. In this particular module, it had an issue. So let's go into that and let us see what is the WebDriver agent issue. Okay, slash users slash lucky. Go to this particular folder and in this particular lucky folder, let's use a command shift dot that it will show all the hidden files, and it has an Appium and it has a node modules. See here, Appium and as well as a node modules. Where is this? Let us see this path. There is a path here. Appium node modules, XCUI test driver, and then it has a node modules, and then it has a Appium WebDriver agent. This is the agent, and this is the Xcode project. Let me launch this particular Xcode project once. I'm just launching my WebDriver agent for an instance on an Xcode to see what exactly the configuration issues that we have on it. Okay, so let's minimize this one. And here I'm targeting for iPhone 11 Pro Max. Consider that I'm targeting for this iPhone 11 Pro Max. And here, the first thing that I'm targeting is integration app. Let me launch this integration app. Once this integration app is completed, then once this integration app is completed, WebDriver agent lib, kill this integration app, kill this integration app session. Okay. And then WebDriver agent lib, launch it once and see how this is going to happen. Okay, even this build and as well as a WebDriver agent runner, all the three builds should run successfully. We have already learned this one, right? We have already learned what exactly we need to configure earlier itself. Now, once this is done, okay, let it execute the agent lib and then the agent runner we need to run. All the three things we need to do. Let it go. So this is done. And finally, I'm going up this agent runner and build it. The WebDriver agent runner. Everything is done. Now, let's go back to your Eclipse editor and let me rerun the program once. Okay, rerun this program once. Let us see how this is going to work right now. Look at the terminal for this execution instance. And now, so what happened? It got crashed and nothing got happen. Okay. So what I'm doing right now means, where is this simulator? Yeah, it launched the simulator. Yeah. See, iPhone 12 Pro Max simulator is launched. I closed this simulator. See here, kill this one. Okay, I don't have my simulators. Now, let me run my program and see. Run as a Java application this time. I don't have any simulators in place, but the program is launching. Okay, the program is executing. It will be launching a simulator in which the app instance is maintaining. It's launching the simulator and the app is instance is being maintained in that simulator. That's what happened. Let's wait for a minute and then we'll see. Okay, still the execution is happening. Look at the server logs also. Okay, look at the server logs also. It's trying to establish a connection with that particular device. Perfect. So we already have 11 Pro Max. The script ran, guys. The script executed successfully. So the script, see here, in this instance, it performed the operation on this device. Now, if you want, okay, if you want, what exactly we can do after a few seconds, terminate this instance too. Okay, let us see. The app is just open. Now, let me rerun the program. It should launch the app and it should wait for few minutes and then it should terminate the app too. Both the actions should done. Okay, launch the app, wait for few seconds, and then terminate the app. That's what the activity that I have created a program. Let me run the program and let us see how this is gonna work. It launched the app and then it will wait for few seconds and then it will kill that particular app. That's it. So this is the way how exactly we can create a program to launch this instance. Good enough. Done the deal. Let us continue with the Android example as for the next session. Thank you. Hello. Hi, everyone. Good morning. In the previous session, we have seen a code base that launches the app on a real iOS simulator. As part of the today's session, we are going to see how exactly we can launch the code on an Android real device. For which, on the same documentation, you have this set of capabilities related to UI Automated 2. Let's copy all these things from here. Go back to your editor, create a new Java program, demo 3 Android. And with the main method I'm creating, okay, demo 3 Android. Why? One second. Let me create a new class here, demo 3 Android with the main method. I have created it. And now I'm placing that piece of a code here. The UI automated two options. It's expecting the UDID. So what exactly the UDID of that particular device? So the point is, whenever you identified that particular device, whatever the name that it is populating, you can give it as a UDID for that particular device. So I'm deleting these lines of a code. I don't want all these lines. Okay, I don't want all these lines. And now here, the URL, the same way how you have created for an instance for an iOS driver, the same way we are creating an instance for this particular Android driver. But here we need to, here we need to give some timeout, and here we need to give the capabilities like what is the device UDID and what is the app. So here, whenever I connected my Android device, I'm using a ADB space devices. I'm getting this UDID, whatever the device name that it is populated there in the terminal, I'm considering it as a UDID. And from my older scripts, I'm taking this particular app application location for this Android. So this is what the APK file location I have given for it. So the only thing that I have done is I set the UDID and I set the app location part. Apart from that, as per the documentation, I haven't done anything. Let me try to run this program again with an Android chunk and let us see whether it is working or not. So the ultimate objective is here, it should launch this particular app on the device and it should wait for a few seconds and it should terminate it. I haven't shared my mobile instance here using a visor. As of now, the Appium settings was launched on my mobile and it got a kill. And now it's launching that particular app. See, you can see the complete logs here. So you may ask me, Surendra, how would I know whether the app got installed or not? See, guys, if anything got a fail, you can show up an error message here. See, the 200 itself, it is saying that the instance got executed successfully. For me, the execution was successful. See, and it's showing as everything is fast and it got terminated. So this is the way how exactly you can create an
Hi everyone, good morning. Welcome back to APM 2.x Features. Guys, if you remember, as part of our previous session, we have seen how exactly we can create an instance to UI Automator 2 options, wherein which we were just passing directly the app information. Ideally, a question that comes in our mind, Surendra, this is fine, we were able to launch the app, but if my requirement is I need to pass on the package name, I need to pass on the activity name of that particular application, right? Certain applications definitely need a package name, activity name, and even of course, I want to set the no reset capability also. We used to have a desired capabilities option in 1.x version where we were passing down those desired capabilities. How exactly I can pass this package name, activity name, and all these information here. So that's what our today's session is. So what I'm gonna do right now is let me copy this particular program and paste it as a separate program. Okay, I'm just creating as a separate program. And in this particular program, I'm just deleting this content that it is not required for me. So, and I don't want to pass on these setup options also. I deleted that. So what I have done right now is I just created an option to UI automated two options. And on top of it, options dot I can pass on my platform name. So here I'm targeting for my Android operating system itself. Set platform name as an Android. Options dot set platform version. Basically, I want to set the version, right? So I want to deal with the 13th version basically. Hence I am passing this set platform version. So this is the way how I am passing that. And of course this is the platform name and the platform version. And if at all I want to set my device name, so here a set a device name, and maybe consider that that's an Android device, and I am passing this. And of course the another one is options dot set app. Again, it's gonna be the same thing where exactly the apk file path is there. You just need to pass on this particular chunk. Okay, and you need to pass on automation name too. Automation name. So I'm just passing this automation name. UI automated too. I was just passing this automation name. And additionally, if I want to pass my activity, so here app activity, even I'm just passing this particular activity. Okay, I'm just passing this particular activity. Additionally, if you want to pass on a particular capability as a no reset, so here I'm passing the set capability as a no reset, and the value, of course, I'm giving it as a false or a true. It's up to you. These are the ways how exactly we can pass on these options. This is a way basically how exactly I can pass on all these options here. And upon creating this particular instance, while creating this particular instance, as we are passing this particular options, these inputs will be taken care by our program, and then it will establish a session. And after a few seconds, I am using a thread dot sleep of 6500 milliseconds, and I am using a driver dot a quit command to terminate the app. In this situation, if you observe right now, I haven't passed my app and I haven't passed my activity. These two things I haven't passed. So what I'm doing right now means I'm launching my Appium inspector session right now, in which I just want to pick up my package name and as well as a app instance. So this is what my app instance for a source demo. I was just picking the app and I am passing that particular information here. And additionally, this is what the activity that we have for the SaaS demo, and I was just passing on that particular activity. That's it. So we are just passing all these options, and right now we are in a good shape to trigger this particular program. Make sure that we are starting the Appium server Okay, make sure that you are starting the Appium server. Okay, the server is up and running right now. And additionally, I'm checking whether my device is connected or not. See, I didn't connect my device yet. Okay, I need to grab my USB cable and I need to connect this particular device. Okay, let me connect this device and then I will try to execute this test script. Just give me a second. Okay. Okay, I just connected my device right now. So what I'm doing right now means let me open up a new terminal instance, ADB space devices, and right now the device is being populated. So if I wish to pass on this device name, copy this particular device name, and instead of this Android, you can pass on that device name also. It's up to our wish whether I want to use this device name or not. And right now I'm using a Visor app to mirror my mobile device here to cross check whether that particular app is being launched or not. Okay, so the mirroring, it's installing the Visor app on that particular device. Once the app got installed, this is the mirroring of my mobile instance. So this is what the home screen is. Now, as I have already started my Appium server and my script is ready, let me try to run the test script and check out whether it is executing. As of now, the scenario that we have created is simple, just to launch the app. The only difference is just passing on the capabilities. So the Appium, settings was launched, and now it's time for this one to trigger this particular APK file that we have specified on that. So yeah, the script is still executing and see the SaaS demo, the Swag Labs app got launched, and after few seconds, it will terminate that particular app instance also. So the ultimate point here is, if at all you don't have a multiple sets of capabilities to pass on, directly you can pass on the options like this, or if you want to pass on the multiple options, whichever the option you want, you can pass on all those options in this particular way. Okay, perfect. Done the deal, guys. See you again in the next session. Thank you. Bye bye.